all of us try and add something to the list of things we have to do. We
Yeah.
can't add without subtracting. Many of them have never even had one visit to the obstetrician before they actually turn up to deliver, which is not something that you and I can imagine, right? It's frustrating, yes, at the medical level, but at the level of an author, or it is essentially about trying to understand where that person is coming from. The womanhood is common,
Yes, yes,
but their journeys are very distinct. And each woman I feel has a story to tell, and
absolutely.
that story is unique. We are told from the time we are born that this is how it is.
Yes,
This is how the world is, and this is how a woman, or a man for that matter, fit into
absolutely.
that world. And that is the barrier, because you have never stopped to consider what it is that you want to do in the world. The main problem is not that a woman does not have the strength.
Hmm.
The main problem is that a woman does not believe she has the strength.
Yes, yes. Hi, Shalini, and welcome once again to the About Her Show. Now, you've been with us earlier, and I remember that conversation. It was very, very like insightful, and I really got to know you very well at that point. So now, of course, a lot has happened since then. So I want to know more about various things that you have done, especially your books. And as far as we are concerned, the difference between then and now is that at that time, we only used to get women on the show. Now we also get men because we believe that for a truly gender inclusive world, men and women need to be allies in this journey. So I'm actually so looking forward to this conversation because I have a whole lot of questions around your books, your career as a doctor, your views on women empowerment, which like kind of resonates so much with me. So I'm really looking forward to this conversation. A very, very warm welcome to you.
Thank you so much, Sangeeta. Pleasure to be here a second time. And yes, even I cherish the conversation we had. And it's so good to not only see our friendship grow, but also to see about her grow. And I've been following the show, and I've been following the guests and the conversations. And I mean, you're just doing amazing work. And I'm so happy to be, part of that. So thank you. And I'm looking forward to the conversation too.
Well, then let's not waste any more time and let's get started. All right. Now, we all know that you're a doctor by profession and now also an author of 3 books. Now, a very, very, how should I say, a question which you may have, I mean, of course, you must have answered millions of times. What first drew you towards writing and how did you find the courage to start?
So good question. What drew me was actually, it wasn't a very structured or a planned thing. I was sort of expressing myself. I had gone through a rough personal phase, and I think this was my way of connecting with myself. I would write small little pieces, very short paragraphs, and I would put them out onto social media. And there people told me, oh, we like what you write. Why don't you write longer? And then I sort of, when I continued writing, I realized I enjoy it. It was actually the only thing that I was doing for myself,
Okay.
out of, the whole routine and all everything that all of us manage. I mean, work, yes, we do, our profession is for us, but again, it's very structured. And, at our levels, it becomes something that you're also doing it the way it's designed to be done, right? So writing was where I get to call the shots. I want to, whatever I want to write, whatever I want to think about. So it started like that.
Hmm.
And it was a combination of, to be very honest, it was a combination of my enjoying it
Yeah.
and people telling me that, and getting that validation of people telling me that, oh, yeah, we're enjoying what you write. So both these things pushed me to write further.
Wonderful, because sometimes I think in the mundane of life, and also when we are kind of pursuing a particular profession or vocation, we don't realize that we can do something else as well. I mean, in the earlier times, people, I don't think, really explored other avenues. But thankfully, now, because of the world in which we live in, where we have more flexibility, we don't have more time, but definitely more flexibility and more acceptance of doing, people doing other things. So I think that really helps. You can explore, you can be a little more adventurous in life. So thank God for that. We get to read your works because of this.
Thank you.
So tell me, you started writing, and like you said, you were getting validation. People were liking what you were writing. So, in this whole journey, was there a particular turning point when you realized that writing wasn't just a side passion, but something you wanted to actively pursue alongside medicine?
Yeah, that happened.
Mhm.
And actually, when that happened, it was very confusing
Okay.
because I wanted to, like you said, I wanted to write more and more. I wanted it not just to be, little things that I'm putting on social media or little things that I'm writing in response to other people's writing. I
Hmm.
actually wanted to make writing, I won't call it a career, but I just wanted to make it a very other significant part of my life.
Right.
And I didn't know how to.
Hmm.
I didn't know how to become a writer,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? Because I come from the conventional schooling system. I studied English till grade 12. I had no literary or journalistic teaching or experience,
Hmm.
no connection with the publishing world or the literary world. And here I am sitting there and saying, I want to be a part of this world. So it was actually quite confusing. But
Hmm.
then, like you said, thanks to the avenues and the exposure that we have, there's
Right.
a lot of information online. So I actually was very hungry for the right kind of information.
Hmm.
I tried to join a few writing groups, a few writing courses, tried to understand the craft of writing because, there's only so far that you can do on your own.
Correct.
You do need some hand holding through the whole process. So
Correct.
I did that and I continued to write. But that was actually when I really grew. I was like this. So that was around, and then COVID happened at the same time. So the good part was that everything which used to be offline earlier, which I may not have gone for because of other constraints, was
Right.
suddenly online.
Yeah.
So I was like the sponge surfing the internet and, imbibing whatever gyan related to writing I could find and reaching out to communities and joining, other groups where developed the skill. So
Okay.
that's how I did it.
So, all the validation and the time that you had enabled you to experiment, enabled you to, like you said, learn the craft and hone your skills. So, I
Yes.
guess that is what it was. Now, of course, while you are writing, you still continue to be a doctor, right? That does not change. Now,
No.
doctors are often seen as deeply analytical because, of course, it's a science that. So, how do you think your medical training has influenced your style of storytelling?
So that's a very good and an interesting question, and one that I often think about now.
Hmm.
Um, One, so in medicine, the first thing that we are taught when a patient comes to us is actually to take the patient's history. That's what it's called.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
what is history? It's his or her story, right? So
absolutely.
essentially, we are asking the patient for their story, their version of things, you
Right,
know,
right.
what happened, since when did it happen, how does it feel? So that's essentially, there is what I'm trying to say is that there is a link.
Yeah,
We are listening to stories, we are connecting the dots with what the patient is telling us. The second thing is that being a physician, being a medical practitioner, and specifically a pathologist, you
hmm,
have to have, actually, any doctor, you have to have a very keen eye for observation.
correct.
Uh, and that, as you know, you're a writer yourself. So you know that that is integral to, making writing and making our stories, right?
Hmm,
We observe how things are happening. We observe things. We observe people, their dynamics, and use them in our stories. So in our work also, when the doctor's examining you or when I'm examining a slide under the microscope, those nuanced observations are what make the difference in a diagnosis. So
right.
these are two things. And the third one is simply that by virtue of being a physician, a medical practitioner, and I work in a government setup where we have a very diverse socioeconomic strata that we carry, that we cater to.
Hmm,
And these are not people that, everyone is exposed to every day because, doctors' lives are not as insulated as other people's are.
Yeah.
So we are seeing a wide variety of emotional landscapes every day,
Hmm.
and you're seeing people at their most vulnerable. I mean, people are ill. You're seeing people at their most emotional. Someone's getting better. You're seeing the patient and the people around them. So there's a lot of material. You're essentially exposed to the human condition all the time, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that is very enriching. That's a very enriching experience to draw on when you sit down to write.
Right.
So that's what I feel, that the two things sort of dovetail into the work that we do.
You're so right because yes, I mean, you like you said, a doctor is first of all listening to the story of the patient,
Yeah,
and that tells you so much about a human being, what they're going through, and ultimately, storytelling is based on a lot of observation and, of course, being able to craft it in a particular way. So yes, I guess whatever you are picking up as a medical practitioner, it is somewhere you are like using it in your storytelling. So, of course, again, I think a very cliched question, but then that's the way it is for women that you are a doctor and you're a writer. Okay, so how do you practically balance the demands of being a doctor and then the creative pull of being an author? So, do the two roles ever clash?
I think all of us, I won't say clash, but all of us do find it challenging giving the roles adequate space in our lives. So yeah, it's difficult to balance the two.
Hmm,
Um, Writing, I mean, medicine is my bread and butter, and it's also something that I really enjoy. So for me, that does come first, right? Your day job is something that you have to do justice to,
correct.
right? And then I try and chisel out time for writing. So it is a constant struggle. The balance, the struggle is real.
Hmm,
I'm only now learning to be easy on myself when I'm trying to do it. Otherwise, I used to be very, very harsh on myself, that I have to do this. But then that consistency has also held me well, right? But
right.
now I've learned to go easy on myself. I try and balance things as much as possible. Beyond a certain point, I delegate a lot of things.
Hmm,
And also, when you're creating that time to write, it's not coming out of nowhere. We
correct.
all have the same 24 hours, right? Now, if you give up on your sleep at a certain point, there will be a price to pay, right? You can't do that beyond a certain thing.
Hmm,
Um, we all of us we're at that age and stage where we have a lot of other commitments, right? Looking after the elders, looking after the children. Um, so what I found was that you have to pick maybe one thing or maybe two things will which you will do less of to create that time. So for me personally, that it's watching TV. It's something that I've had to give up. I won't call it a sacrifice because I don't mind it because I've filled that space with writing.
hmm,
But what I'm trying to say here is that all of us try and add something to the list of things we have to do. We
yeah,
can't add without subtracting,
absolutely.
right?
I completely
And
agree.
I mean, yes, you can, or you should probably subtract the social media scrolling and those kind of things if you're doing too much of it. But I needed a huge chunk of time. So gradually it just became a habit that, that time when you sit down in the evening and you watch television, it just became my writing time or my even thinking or plotting time.
Hmm.
So that's how I balance. You have to, pick and choose your battles and divide your time properly.
Very true. I mean, you made a very important point. Delegation is so important. You can't kind of
Yeah.
imagine that you can do everything because you most definitely cannot. That's one aspect. Then also giving up on other things because
Yeah.
ultimately you've got to have priorities in life. What is it that you
Absolutely.
want to do? So if this
Uh,
is more of what you want to do, then you have to give up
yeah.
something else. You can't have
Yeah.
your cake and
Yeah.
eat
It's
it
like
too, like they say.
what is nurturing you, you have to hang on to that. And you
Absolutely.
have to let some of the other things go. And also perfection. Honestly, you're not getting anything out of having a perfect home all the time. It doesn't matter.
That's actually, I feel, not even real.
Yeah, it's not. It's not.
Because I mean, then again, perfection is, I think it's an illusion. How can you kind of be perfect? Nobody can be. You're
Right?
just chasing something which is like a mirage. So why are you doing this? I think
Absolutely.
getting things done is better than trying to be perfect all the time, because you will not be able to. Okay.
Absolutely.
So as you said, and as I understood, was that, your two worlds, medicine and writing, they do overlap, because both of them have, elements of empathy, observation, and human stories.
Yeah.
Would you like to elaborate on this?
Sure. So, and I mean, you've read my book. So, what
Oh,
I'm writing is essentially slice of life, and
yes.
like I said, we're seeing that life around us. If I have a patient whom, we're diagnosing with something very serious, so there's a lot of emotion that comes.
Hmm.
Each patient will respond differently. Their core feelings also will be different in how they manifest them. So those are places where stories come from. Everyone who walks into a hospital has a different story, and you just have to stop and think, oh, what happened to this person today in the morning? Yeah, and there you have the stories coming for you. Also, you're exposed, like I said before, you're exposed to so many different kinds of people. So it's like research happening in real time, like, right? Not everyone lives the kind of privileged lives that you and I do. Correct. So we have a spectrum of people um, who will react very differently to situations. When we even when we were training, we've seen, and I write a lot about women's issues. So I'll give you one example. We would be interns and we would be in the labor room, and you have pregnant women and you need to take them up for emergency cesarean sections.
Hmm.
Many of them have never even had one visit to the obstetrician before they actually turn up to deliver, which is not something that you and I can imagine, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
that's the way it is. It
Hmm.
doesn't stop there. So, the senior doctor examines them and everyone's like, oh, we need an emergency cesarean section now. And then you go back and you tell them that we need to do a cesarean section and we need you to arrange 2 units of blood,
Hmm. Hmm.
because any operation you need to have blood donated and the relatives will disappear.
Yeah, yeah.
And this happens all the time.
Hmm.
Or they come, they have a normal delivery and it's a girl.
Oh, yes, of course.
So we're exposed, and in our own homes, we would never be exposed to this, right?
Yeah, yeah,
We'll read about it, but seeing the expression on the mother-in-law, on the husband's face. I
yes,
mean, those are the realities which then find their way into stories that we write, into the books that we think about. Right? As I said, it's about the human condition. And there are many, many of those examples from day to day life. We casually, you'll write a prescription,
yeah.
and then they will be like, it's not even a question of afford. A person has their own thoughts, beliefs, and baggages, right?
Hmm.
And then they'll be like, no, doctor, I'm not going to have this medicine. I'll go to the local quack or something because we get better when we go to him. So
Hmm.
it's frustrating, yes, at the medical level. But at the level of an author, or it is essentially about trying to understand where that person is coming from,
Yeah, yeah,
what formed those beliefs, right? So every day we are exposed to situations, like I said, people at their most vulnerable, people in difficult situations, and we're seeing them. And the when we're doing the medicine part of it, we can't react to all these things, right?
yes, yes.
But when
Right.
we're doing the writing part of it, we can expand on them, think about them, and write about them.
And I guess somewhere when you are writing about it, you are reflecting on it. You're going back on those experiences, which probably help you to understand those experiences, those people even better. Because, now
Absolutely.
you're not looking at them from the lens of a doctor, but, just as somebody who went through that experience. And now, as a human being, you are trying to understand, or maybe, like I said, reflecting upon it, pondering on it. So tell me, so you have two identities, a doctor and an author. So is it when you think about yourself or when people meet you, is it so when you're a doctor, are you an author? Do they know that you are an author? Or people who know you as an author, do they know that you're a doctor? So these two identities, how do you keep juggling them?
So that's very interesting. So I've realized that no, most people don't know both. I
Okay.
mean, there are very few people who know me as both.
Hmm.
But on my books, because I've started with writing fiction, so on my first book, it went without doctor. It was a conscious decision because people felt that if I say Dr. Shalini Mullick, the reader will expect a medical book or a non-fiction book.
Hmm.
Uh, so most people, the two identities intersect in me, yes, but
Hmm.
not in the world, not in how the world sees me. And at work, now everyone knows, of course, that I write.
Hmm.
But in the initial days, the people used to come up to me and ask, ma'am, you've written a book also. So, it was like, okay. And then when I meet people, so people actually used to ask me, oh, so you've given up medicine. And so now I actually have to put, she's a practicing doctor and an author. Keep, I know I'm still doing both the things.
Yeah.
So when they get to know me, of course, my friends, of course, and other people, readers also, when they get to know me, they do know that I do both. But for most people, it is a separate experience, I think.
Mhm. Yeah, I guess it happens. You can't be telling everything to everyone about you, like
Yeah,
if
yeah.
they get to know
And
you.
I mean,
Yeah.
not everyone in my, not everyone related to my work circle is a reader.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah. Fair.
the world, as far as the worlds intersect, they come to know.
Yes, yes. So, Shalini, what I'm really itching to ask. So, your books are women centric,
Yes.
right? The focus is on women, whether it is subtle or it is like overt, but you know that you're talking about women and you're trying to drive some point home about their struggles, their challenges. And all three of your books, as I know, have focused on women's experiences. So,
Yes.
what inspired you to make women the center of your stories?
Um, Short answer, life.
All right. Okay. That's
Long answer,
profound.
long answer. So when I think about it now, I realize that I've worked in various settings where I've been exposed to the human condition and women and how they engage with each other more. For example, I studied medicine at Lady Harding Medical College, which is a women's only college, right?
Mm.
And that was like my first, I didn't have the language then to say this, but that was my first understanding of intersectionality. Not all women are alike.
Yeah.
Each one of us responded to the same thing in so many different ways.
Hmm.
So that was actually my first exposure to intersectionality, to diversity, even to inclusivity in some ways, right?
Mhm.
And then specialize in pathology, which is a field of medicine which is dominated by women. So
Mm.
I've always mostly I worked in workplaces which have a high prevalence of women.
Mm.
And somewhere along the way, I realized the choices I made or the ones I didn't have been influenced deeply by the world around me and deeply by the fact that I'm a woman. Womanhood affects your life in many, many ways. For example, I chose to specialize in pathology because of course, I enjoyed it. But one major thing in my conditioned in me was always to have a good work life balance.
Okay.
Now, I do not know what choice I would have made if I had lived in a different world where that was not a criteria.
Okay.
You understand?
Yeah, yeah.
So maybe I would have been a neurosurgeon. I don't know. I
Mm.
never even thought about it.
Mm.
That's the point I'm trying to make.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
somewhere along the way, I realized how our social conditioning affects our choices, affects our lives, and affects how our lives actually play out. And that's why I started writing about women and what happens when they understand their authentic selves and try and live their authentic selves.
Mm.
Because I've been through that journey, and I think it's a journey. I'm still going through it. The power that comes from within when you make your own choices, you decide for yourself, and you know why you're choosing something that you're choosing. It's okay to be a pathologist. It's okay to
Yeah.
decide to work fewer hours. but as long as that's your decision,
Yeah,
it's not a decision which you are taking, believing that it's yours, but it's actually, pushed down on you by
yeah,
society.
yeah,
So
yeah.
somehow, as I thought about my own life, I started writing about these kind of issues. And I think also writing about these helped me understand me myself better. I think that's one reason why all of us write, right? That's
Like
how it
you
happened.
said, anything that you go through, they always say, now, if you put it down on paper, if you write it down, it helps you to understand. It could be anything. It doesn't have,
Absolutely.
you don't have to be a writer, but even otherwise, when you're going through anything, if you write it down, jot
Yeah,
it down,
absolutely.
then you are in a way coming to terms with that situation. You are breaking it down, you're understanding it, also understanding the impact it is having on you. So yes, so I guess this is what, like what you said about the social conditioning and the matter of choice, and those particular situations where you think that the choice is mine, but it actually isn't. So that I think
Yeah.
is like very, very essential. All right. So tell me, so like I said, the books are women centric. So my question is that is there a common thread that runs across your books which reflects your own worldview as a woman and as a professional? I mean, your characters, I mean, if I remember, they're all diverse, coming from diverse backgrounds. Women, yes, but very, very diverse. So,
Yeah.
I mean, what does it have to do with, or what does it say about your worldview as a woman and as a professional?
So I don't think there's one thread that runs through them. I generally I don't enjoy crafting weak women. I want to craft
We know
empowered
that.
women or women on the journey to
We know that.
self-actualization.
We know that.
Yeah. So that would be the common thing. That is one. And the second is, I think all my stories are sort of heavy on emotion.
Hmm. Hmm.
So because that is something that I feel resonates with the reader because you're touching the heart.
Yeah.
But beyond that, I actually want to keep it slice of life, but at the same time, there is so much different kinds of things happening to people that I enjoy picking up different things. Like in one more chapter, each of the women, like you said, they're so diverse. They have such different backgrounds. You have a lawyer, you have a homemaker. So again, they are the womanhood is common,
Yes. Yes.
but their journeys are very distinct. And each woman I feel has a story to tell, and
Absolutely.
that story is unique. And
Yes. And I think what I understand the thread is that your women are not weak. That I think
yeah.
is somewhere comes from within you, where the woman protagonist is either already a strong person or she's on the way to becoming strong. So I think that is something which I have seen in all the books and in all the, characters that you've crafted. So, Shalini, tell me
Yeah.
something. Can you share one character or a story from one of your books that is very close to your heart and why?
Um. Okay. So three books old, but it's still my first. Stars from the Borderless Sea.
Yes,
The
yes.
story which is closest to my heart is the first one in this. The story of Gitika and Shekhar, Sayoni.
Ah,
Um, it's just a story that flowed naturally. It's a very, I mean, you've read the book, so it's a very unusually done thing where it's in the form of love letters, but only one person's love letters. You don't see both the people writing to each other.
right.
But it was a story where the emotions seeped in because it was based on love does not have to be, you don't have to stay connected even to be in love. And so this is a very special story for me. And I think that it's also so for the readers because I had so many people reach out to me. And there was this she's a friend. I mean, not a very good friend. We knew each other some time ago, and she just wrote to me. I wish I had a Shaker in my life.
Oh, how
So
sweet.
for me, that was exactly why I wrote that story because all you need is someone to understand you.
Yes.
It does not, I mean, it would be very nice if that someone to understand you was also your life partner. That, of course, is ideal, but still, that is all you need to be understood as a person, to have your emotions mirrored by somebody. That is all you need to survive, whatever that life is going to throw at you. So, that is still remains my favorite story.
I completely agree. All you need is just that.
Yeah,
Someone who can understand you, someone you can resonate with. These are little, little things, but they make all the difference in life. And I
absolutely.
think these are
Just to feel understood, just to feel understood, just to feel, have a space to share your emotions. That's all.
yes, and but you only realize it, with the passage of time. It's not something that you really can understand as a young person. So I
True.
guess experience. All right. So yes, you are all about strong women and women, becoming strong and all of that. But based on your journey, what do you think are the biggest barriers women face in finding and pursuing their voices, whether in medicine, in writing, or life in general?
Again, short answer, patriarchy. long answer, long answer, it's the system. It's designed to oppress you. It's just made that way. It's very difficult to break through that and figure out what is happening.
Right.
I actually like to call patriarchy a collective gaslighting. It's like, but when you once you figure it out, you figured it out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So for me, that is the whole thing, that we are told from the time we are born that this is how it is.
Yes,
This is how the world is, and this is how a woman, or a man for that matter, fit
absolutely.
into that world,
Hmm.
right? Up this definition was made by the men, so how they fit into the world is crafted differently. But
Hmm.
both men and women are told from day one, in words, in signaling, in many different ways, in just how the world is designed, right? And that is the barrier, because you have never stopped to consider what it is that you want to do in the world.
Hmm.
You are stepping out to inhabit certain slots which are already there.
Correct.
So you will obviously mold yourself according to them. It
Yes.
is when you realize that this slot can be changed. The shape of this hole can match the peg that I am.
Yes.
I can do that. So it is basically the way the world is designed. It is designed to be a man's world. It is designed to be a world where men call the shots. And I cannot even blame them, because that is just the way that they have also been
Yeah,
conditioned.
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So it is just patriarchy in every form, social conditioning, stereotyping, um, and the fact that women are not aware of how deeply they have ingrained this. We
Yes.
have, all of us
We
have,
all have.
all of us.
I agree.
Even now, we follow a lot of those roles,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
right?
We do, we do.
So that is the main barrier as I see it.
Absolutely, because so it can take various forms, but the at
Yeah.
the base, at the root, this is what it is because we've all been, this is how we've been brought up. So the conditioning starts
Yes.
from childhood. So you cannot blame
Absolutely.
anybody, this is the way it is. And like you said, till the time you don't start questioning, till the time you don't start using your mind, you'll keep following the bandwagon,
Yeah.
keep doing things that have always been done and believing that this is the way, it is to be
Ab- Absolutely.
done. So tell
If
me,
I may,
I'm sorry.
yeah, if I may, so one example of this, and this might be unpopular opinion,
No.
one opinion of, but all the people, when the whole thing about Karwa Chauth, I have no problem.
Hmm, hmm, hmm.
Do it knowing, you should just be aware that it is also seeped in patriarchy, the
Of
culture, the
course.
tradition.
Of course.
Do it, have fun. I'm fine with it. But I have a lot of women who tell me that it's my choice. So my only question is that you should be just aware whether this is really your choice or it's being projected like that to
Yes.
you. That's all. After that, you are fully free to observe it on 10 days of the year or not observe it. But
Right.
you should
Right.
be able to make that choice, and you should not be judged for that choice.
Yes.
That is the day when it will be an equal tradition for me.
And also, don't think it is your choice. That is also because I see a lot of
Exactly.
young girls also nowadays very gung ho about the whole idea. without, I don't know, understanding it or what is it, it's just become a fad. And I mean, do you really want to do it?
Yeah,
Or are you doing it because the rest of your friend circle is doing it? I mean, so I think
exactly.
somewhere we as women also need to pause, reflect
Yes.
whenever we do something, because certain things like are just like a default setting, and they
Yeah.
just happen because they've been happening like that. Yeah.
So exactly, that's what I meant.
So, Shalini, we've spoken about women and they're raising their voices, or at least, trying to raise their voices, understanding what they are doing, why they are doing, and making the right kind of choices. And ultimately, this is all about, women empowering themselves, other women helping them to empower them, and all of that. So, tell me, what role do you believe storytelling plays in women's empowerment? I mean, do you see fiction as a way to challenge stereotypes or open up new conversations?
Absolutely. So there were two, I mean, I'll take both of those separately.
Yeah,
First, you said the importance of storytelling.
yeah.
I think it's tremendously important. Things in our day-to-day life, our day-to-day experiences, which we brush over.
Hmm.
And, we don't talk about them because either we don't have the avenue and the space to talk about them, or we don't think it's important. So
Yeah,
things as simple as, the lady of the house being being left out when it comes to making a choice about a vacation, because it's always first it's about what the husband wants and then it's about what the kids want, you know things. And then if you just talk about that, I promise you four women in the room will come up to you and say, oh, even I felt so left out,
yeah.
and even I wanted to go to Goa but everyone else wanted to go to the mountains.
Hmm.
So the little, even the little stuff, it counts, because when people hear you talk about that small little experience, they feel validated.
Right.
They are able to acknowledge a part of themselves which they have been pushing away, because the whole world is telling them it's not important.
Yeah.
And in the big grand scheme of things, it is not.
Right. Right.
They went for a family vacation, they had fun, right? Uh, but in the small scheme of things, at a personal level, it is important,
Yes.
because that is one of the ways where we diminish ourselves and our desires,
Hmm.
right? And it becomes second nature. So,
Yes.
this is just one example. So, every woman has a story. Every woman's story might be similar to the stories of our other women,
Hmm.
or it might be different.
Yeah.
But when you go out and you tell your story, when you share how you felt, when you share what happened, and you share how you dealt with it,
Yeah. Yeah.
you are telling women that what is happening may be happening to many people, but that does not make it okay. That
Right.
does not invalidate the emotions of the person who has gone through it.
Right.
Because a lot of times, even in marriages, we are told, "Aise hi hota hai." And
Hmm.
that is true. Like I said, small things may not, they don't change the grand scheme of things. I'm not talking about a bad marriage. Talking even about in marriages which are usually okay or even good.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Women do tend to diminish themselves.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
then you are telling women that you don't have to do it. It's okay that you did not like the fact that you had to diminish your desire,
Yes.
and you
Yes.
don't always have to do it.
Yes.
And I did it, or the protagonist in my story did it, and things still turn out okay, because the main problem is not that a woman does not have the strength.
Hmm.
The main problem is that a woman does not believe she has the strength.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So telling a story helps overcome that barrier.
Yes.
It unearths the belief of a woman in herself, in her inner potential. And that is why stories, even about, like I said, this, I haven't even spoken about the big things. I've just spoken about very small things which have happened to all of us. And
Yeah.
like I said, they do not really mean that someone was bad or someone abused us, or even day to day, I'm talking.
Yeah. Yeah.
I went, for example, I went to a holiday alone,
Hmm.
and I was traveling and I sat down to eat Maggie, which
Hmm.
is the usual Pahado Valley Maggie, right?
Hmm.
And I have always, for the last 10 years, eaten Maggie without the sabji, because my daughter eats it like that.
Okay.
So, it's a default thing, ki you'll just order that and you'll eat it. And I enjoyed it with vegetables so much. I paid extra. I said, or sabji dalo.
Hmm.
because that is the way that I used to like my Maggie before life happened.
Right.
Right. So it's so,
Right.
so these are the little stories, and I wrote about this. And why I'm telling you this is because I wrote about this in a blog post. And so many people told me that, oh, we've also given up on these little things that we like.
Yes. Yes.
So that is, to me, that is the importance of storytelling. And your second question was about stereotypes. So that's not something that's very easy to handle in fiction, because when you're picking up a fiction book,
Hmm.
you're not looking for a masterclass in gender studies. You're
No.
looking for a book that will entertain you,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So if Shalini starts telling you about four waves of feminism and starts espousing Gyan, you're going to drop the book,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Absolutely.
Because that was not the purpose of the book,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
But at the same time, I believe very strongly, one, that fiction reflects the time we live in.
Yeah. Definitely.
Two, even when we are writing fiction, we have the opportunity to influence minds. So again, I'll give you one example. In The Way Home, there's a character called Anya. She's
Hmm.
a young girl, today's generation, millennial, from a privileged, well-educated background.
Yeah.
Uh, Now, in that book, she is going out with her friend Roy on a bike,
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
and she's driving the bike.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
She's riding the bike. He's riding pillion. So
Hmm.
for me, this is the little way in which I want to, one, this is girls these days do that. It's a normal thing to happen. Two, even if someone who's reading the book has not seen this happen, has the avenue to think that this can. Because a lot of our thoughts come from social conditioning. You think about it when you were growing up. Someone comes to visit you. It's a family. When they're going back, the gentleman will be the driving the car or the two-wheeler, and the lady will be sitting.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
way it's
That's the way
conditioned.
it's always been. Yes. Yes.
So exactly. So this is the way that, and this is how children grow up thinking that this is a man's role and this is a woman's role,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So if in our fiction we have some opportunities to do that, and I try and take those opportunities, but at the same time, I cannot keep talking about that in that form. So I try and do it in different ways. I try and show parents who are empowered, women who are working. Again, like you said, strong women in their own settings. I try and do that in my fiction book. Stars from the Borderless Sea had women following their heart,
Yeah. Yeah.
whatever the consequences. So, yes, and I think it's also our duty to use fiction to show the kind of world that we want, also, right? I
Absolutely.
mean, I would not be able to reinforce a very negative gender stereotype in my books, unless, of course, it's essential to a character.
Yeah. That's a
But
different.
when you're writing the world, you're creating a world, right? So you can create the world that you want. It's called fiction, no?
Absolutely, absolutely. That's it's called fiction for
It's,
a reason.
it's
And
called fiction.
actually, I think, when we do this in fiction, it is more effective because, first of
Yes.
all, the message is subtle. It is in a setting which you can relate to. So in a
Yeah.
very, I think in a very, like they say na ki zor ka jhatka dheere se. That sort of a thing, you can pass on that
Very
message without being in your face, without making it seem as though you are, talking about or you are pushing feminism or all of those things. You don't have to do it.
yes,
Just in very simple
very true.
everyday situations, you are creating something which just pops out and tells you that, hey, things can be done in a different way. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right. Right. All right. So finally, Shalini, what advice would you give to women who are navigating dual careers or struggling to balance their passions with their professional responsibilities? I mean, a lot of women are doing that nowadays. So, what would you like to tell them?
First, it's awesome to see so many people doing it. I mean, it just fills you with so much
Yes.
warmth and joy. Secondly, I know it's not easy, so hats off to all those. And then, Sangeeta, there's an equally large number of women who want to do that, but they're not able to.
Right. Right.
So, what I want to say is, again, not everything I say is always goes into popular opinion category,
Which is,
but but what I really want to say is that we are all conditioned, we are all gendered socializing socially to believe And we are. I mean, we are to believe that our worth, our self-worth is linked to how we manage our homes and how we raise our children.
Absolutely.
Uh, yes, both of these are important to me as they are important to you and to everyone else. But the yardstick is ours. It
Yeah.
doesn't have to be someone else's.
Mm.
Um, so there has to be, and the other thing again, very, very unpopular opinion. If you spend half an hour less on domestic chores or social obligations every day and you write 100 words, I'm using writing as an example, but whatever creative, whatever your passion is,
Right. Mm.
in a year you would have something,
Yes.
big or small, I'm saying.
Mm.
But if you don't do that, in that half an hour, you have continued to do the same things which are not nurturing you, which are not contributing to your growth.
Mm. Mm.
You have nothing to show for it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So, and the third thing is this, that we are also conditioned to believe that if we are pursuing something else, we are taking away time from what is our primary responsibility, children or home or responsibilities. But we also have a responsibility to ourselves, to
Yes.
nurture us,
Yeah.
to find our own inner strength, to be the people that we are and we can be.
Mm.
And I think that that is a responsibility that gets lost in all the others.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
too busy being mostly it's being the ideal mother that is stopping us.
Mm.
But
Mm.
there is no such thing. There are women who will take career breaks. There are women who will continue to work. We know now that we know biologically, scientifically that having a working mother is not detrimental to children,
Not
right?
at all. Not at all.
There is enough. So similarly, what does a child need? A child needs a mother who is happy, who is self-actualized,
Mm.
who is confident, and who leads the way by following her dreams. Do you not want your children to follow their dreams?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So once you come to that point, and it's not easy, it's not a linear journey, like I just said, we all have doubts. You will have that doubt when you need to, step out for your writing event, and your child will have an exam or something like that. That conflict will come. But at the end of the day, it is not a pick one of the two situation. You
Yeah.
can move things around and have everything, and your children will eventually understand that having a mother who followed her dreams and who had the courage to know what she wants, that is the biggest thing that you can do for your children. So that's on a big level. On a small level, on a practical level, all I want to say is try and identify some time of the day which is for yourself, and do something only for yourself
Yeah.
in that, even if it's 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and then the path will find itself.
It's what you said is absolutely brilliant. It's so wonderful because I think, what you just said, if you learn to follow your dream, or if you rather choose to follow your dream, there is a very important message for your children out there. You're also
Yes.
teaching them to pick that dream and follow it. Because if you're always
Yes.
suppressing yourself, or you're always doing things for others at the cost of your peace of mind, your happiness, your well being, that is the message which your child is also getting. That is
Absolutely.
not, and I think, especially when we are trying to create a world, move towards a world which is more empowered when it comes to women, it is our responsibility, to do this. Why not? And I sometimes I feel, that it's just like you said, moving things a little bit here and there, which can create that place, that avenue for you to follow what you want to do. But of course, you have to have that willingness and that, that courage of conviction. All those things are there, but baby
Yeah.
steps you can take and just see, because it'll give you so much of confidence. You will love yourself for being able to do what you want to do.
Yes.
I mean, there's a whole new world
Yes.
out there which can open up if you follow your dreams, so to say.
Absolutely. And the hardest one is the first step, because what happens is once you do it
Yeah.
and then you realize, that everything is still working. The world did not collapse. Everything is going on.
Yeah.
And you've dealt with a crisis, even if it happened when you were not there, that the confidence will keep growing. So it's that first step, which is not easy, but it's definitely worth it. It's definitely, I'm a different person. I'm not the person I was before I started writing.
Hmm.
And I'm so much happier for it,
Yes, I'm
you
sure.
know.
And I can say the same thing about myself. I mean, all these things that I do, a lot of people ask me, how can you do it? How do you find the time? But I always feel, that if there is a will, there is a way. You will find time. Yes, you will give up on certain other things which probably are not so important. But when this is giving you so much of fulfillment, if it's giving you so much of
Yeah,
happiness, it's worth it. Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely.
So, Shalini, one thing which has changed from the last time is the next section of this podcast. I mean, yes, we've come to the end of the conversation, but we have what is called the rapid fire round, which wasn't there when you first came on the
Should
show.
I be scared?
No,
Should I be
not,
scared?
not at all.
Okay.
Considering the way you've handled all the questions, I don't think you need to be scared at all. So these are 5 quick questions, 5 quick answers. I mean, whatever comes, top of your mind at that point is what the answer that I'm looking for. So all set?
Yeah.
All right. So the first one woman, real or fictional, who inspires you the most.
Pippi Longstocking.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Just love
The
it.
next one, very simple. Coffee or tea while writing?
Tea.
Okay. All right. Next one. The first word that comes to your mind when you hear the word empowerment.
Women.
Had to be. All right. Okay. The next one. If you had 1 extra hour every day, would you spend it reading, writing, or doing something else?
Reading.
Okay. All right. And the last one. A book you wish you'd written.
I can't answer that. I genuinely don't know, because then those books won't be those books anymore. So that's a very tough one.
So that's actually a very Shalini kind of an answer. And a very,
Thank you.
very,
I don't know what that
again,
is.
you pick on those little nuances, things that, yes, if you were to write a book that somebody else has already written, then it would not be that book, because that book is a
Yeah.
reflection of what they wanted to say or of their experiences or whatever it was. So, yeah, a typical Shalini answer. And bang on. So, finally, this is the end. And what should I say? As I was expecting it to be, delightful, insightful, so inspiring. And I love the way you can, it's so easy to talk to you because you have a very, how should I say, very approachable person, so you just kind of flow into the conversation with you. And I think there are so many nuggets of wisdom, inspiration that are, kind of interwoven in this conversation, which our readers and viewers will definitely pick up. And so, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for those generous words. And it's also you. It's the way you do the show and do the conversation that I think makes your guest feel so comfortable. It's been an absolute pleasure, as meeting you always is,
Thank you.
virtually or
Likewise,
physically.
likewise.
So thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Hmm.
Thank you for tuning in to the About Her show. If you enjoyed this episode, there's plenty more from where that came from. Our previous guests have shared some amazing stories, so be sure to catch up on past episodes. To keep up with our inspiring conversations and to never miss an update, hit subscribe, rate, review, and share the love. Follow us on social media for some great content, and don't forget to check out our website www.aboutherbysangeeta.com for stories that resonate, inspire, and empower. Know a remarkable woman or an inspiring man blazing a trail? We'd love to hear from you. Drop us a note at web.abouther@gmail.com and let's bring their story to life on the About Her Show.